10 bitter facts about women that men learn too late. While it's true that women are typically physically less strong than men, it's essential not to underestimate their capabilities. In reality, women possess a complex blend of strengths that have proven challenging for many men to navigate. Society often paints a picture of women as gentle and harmless, perpetuating myths that don't reflect their true nature. It's time to wake up to reality because, no matter how good of a man you are, if you don't learn about female nature now, you will probably get destroyed by a woman sooner or later. We will go over 10 truths about women that men learn the hard way. Stay tuned until the very end, where the most bitter truth awaits you. Number 1. She knows how to swindle weak men. Wait, but what about you? Do you think men have the right to be vulnerable? Comment 0 if you think that's not allowed. Comment 1 if you think that's normal. Diving into the murky waters of relationship dynamics, let's explore a bitter truth. Some women excel at manipulating men who show certain weaknesses. This isn't about painting all women with the same brush or suggesting a sinister nature across the board. Rather, it's about understanding a specific type of interaction that can occur when vulnerabilities are exposed and exploited, especially by those who are adept at manipulation. Think of it as a chess game where one player has mastered the art of reading their opponent. The man in this metaphor might as well have his strategies, or lack thereof, written all over his face. Whether it's insecurity masked by ostentatious displays of wealth or emotional neediness cloaked under the guise of romance, these signals are like blood in the water for a seasoned shark. Here's where the manipulation can come into play. A woman who knows how to manipulate may use affection, approval, or the promise of intimacy to keep the man in a state of compliance. She knows just when to pull back and just when to give in, keeping him off balance and unsure. This dynamic isn't just about being swindled out of a fancy dinner or two. It's about the ongoing manipulation of a person's emotions and decisions. For instance, consider the man who always finds himself paying for expensive vacations or gifts, thinking it's the only way to keep her interested. Or the guy who suppresses his true feelings in arguments because he fears losing her love, which might have been conditional from the start. The urgency of recognizing and addressing this manipulation stems from its long-term effects on one's self-esteem and relationship health. Men, and indeed anyone, vulnerable to such manipulation need to recognize the signs early. The goal is to foster self-awareness and resilience, learning not to lead with one's vulnerabilities, but to build relationships based on mutual respect and understanding. Remember, true strength lies in knowing and respecting oneself, making it harder for anyone to turn your weaknesses against you. Number 2. She will test endlessly. When you've left school but still find yourself constantly taking tests, and the person setting the questions is her. If you've ever felt like navigating the dating world is akin to walking through a minefield, you're not alone. Many men perceive women as unpredictable, attributing mood swings to inexplicable whims. However, what's often misunderstood as unpredictability is actually a deeper, more instinctual process. Women test men, both consciously and subconsciously, to gauge their suitability as long-term partners. The interesting part is that, in these tests, you even have to guess what the questions are. Fascinating, right? She will never give you a heads up, and only when you receive a miserably low score do you realize, oh, she was testing me. From time immemorial, women have employed various methods to test potential partners. These tests are not arbitrary. They are designed to challenge men in ways that reveal their true character and resilience. For instance, a woman might initiate a disagreement to see how a man handles conflict. Does he escalate the situation, or does he remain calm and collected? If a man responds with emotional maturity and stoicism, he demonstrates qualities that are crucial in a stable, long-term relationship. On the other hand, if he becomes defensive or hostile, he may inadvertently reveal that he lacks the temperament for enduring partnership. Seneca, a Stoic philosopher, once said, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." This sentiment perfectly encapsulates why these tests are essential from a woman's perspective. They are not about being difficult for the sake of difficulty, but about ensuring that the man can handle the pressures and challenges that come with a committed relationship. These tests can vary widely in form and intensity. Some might be subtle, like observing how a man treats service staff or reacts to inconvenient situations. Others might be more direct, such as how he responds to questions about future goals or values. Each test, whether the man is aware of it or not, feeds into a woman's assessment of his suitability as a partner. It's crucial to understand that these tests are not born out of malice or an intent to manipulate. Recognizing that these tests serve a purpose can help men respond more effectively. Instead of reacting with annoyance or insult, viewing these situations as opportunities to demonstrate qualities like patience, understanding, and resilience can turn potential conflicts into moments of bonding and mutual respect. What about you? What kind of grade have you ever received? Comment on the bitter grade you got and share your experience. Number 3. She is hypergamous. Men date down, women date up, meaning that women look for a man that is better than them. The concept of hypergamy suggests that women are inherently inclined to date up, that is, to seek partners who are perceived to be of higher status or better than themselves in certain key areas such as financial stability, leadership abilities, and overall social status. Men, on the other hand, don't necessarily prioritize the same criteria. Many men are content to date women who may not match or exceed their own socio-economic status. They might happily date a woman who earns less or has less formal education. This difference in dating standards is not about love being blind. It's about differing evolutionary imperatives that guide male and female choices differently. The term hypergamous often carries a negative connotation, conjuring images of gold-digging or opportunistic behavior. Women's preference for more successful men can be viewed as a strategy to ensure the best possible conditions for themselves and their offspring. In this light, hypergamy can be seen as a natural inclination towards securing a beneficial match that offers stability and potential for a prosperous future. It's crucial to recognize that hypergamy doesn't mean a woman values a man only for his material resources. Instead, it's about the broader concept of value, which includes emotional maturity, reliability, and the ability to lead and provide security. These are qualities that, historically and evolutionarily, have been crucial for the survival and success of human offspring. For men, understanding hypergamy is not about fostering resentment or feeling inadequate. Thus, hypergamy should not be seen as a barrier, but as a call to action for self-improvement and personal development. It encourages men to strive for their best, not just in the context of attracting partners, but in all areas of life. Remember, the aim is not to overpower or outshine your partner, but to be a compelling and reliable partner yourself. Before we dive into the next lesson, make sure you've liked and subscribed to our channel, so YouTube's algorithm can recommend this video to a wider audience. Thank you. Number 4. Nice guys finish last. Nice guys finish last. This adage resonates painfully in the ears of many men who've experienced the sting of romantic rejection despite their well-meaning intentions. But let's unpack this. Why does this phenomenon seem so persistent in the dating world? It's not just about the simplicity of being too nice, but rather the dynamics and perceptions that often come with it. The stereotype of the nice guy often paints a picture of a man who is passive-aggressive, using his niceness as a smokescreen for manipulative tactics. He's the guy who believes if he's good enough, if he's accommodating enough, he'll eventually win the girl. However, this strategy can backfire spectacularly. Women, equipped with a keen sense for authenticity, can usually tell when kindness is used as a cloak for hidden agendas. The nice guy's veneer of pleasantry, intended to manipulate outcomes subtly, often earns him a one-way ticket to the friend zone. Contrast this with the so-called bad boy, who often radiates assertiveness and authenticity. This guy lays his cards on the table. What you see is what you get. He's unapologetic about his desires and boundaries, which in a twist of irony makes him more appealing. His assertiveness and dominance aren't about disrespect, but about a transparent projection of his identity and intentions. He's the embodiment of the saying, "Real recognizes real." And in the dating realm, this realness can be a major draw. The crux of the issue for nice guys isn't their kindness per se, but how it's perceived and utilized. Kindness should not be a strategy, but a genuine part of one's character. When kindness comes with strings attached, expectations of reciprocation, romance, or sex, it loses its purity. Seneca, a Stoic philosopher, once remarked, "Wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness." The key here is the absence of expectations. In the modern dating scene, men who find themselves consistently sidelined, despite their niceness, might need to reflect on how they present their kindness. Are they truly being kind, or are they performing kindness with the hope of a specific reward? True kindness does not calculate returns. It exists freely, generously, and without an agenda. Be kind because it's right, not because you think it will get you somewhere. In doing so, you embody the best of both worlds, the genuine kindness of the nice guy and the authentic clarity of the bad boy. This blend, this realness, is attractive, and it's what can ultimately lead you to meaningful connections where you neither finish last nor compromise your integrity. Number 5. She wants you to be a mind reader. Ever found yourself playing the role of an amateur psychic in your relationship, guessing what she's thinking or feeling? Sure, we're not in the Marvel universe, but sometimes it seems like being a mind reader is part of the relationship package, doesn't it? It often goes like this. She drops subtle hints that she's upset. You, on the other hand, are scrolling through your mental database, trying to crack the code. Dinner passes in silence, and when you finally ask, "Is something wrong?" she responds with the classic, "I'm fine." But we all know, "I'm fine" can sometimes be the emotional equivalent of a small kitchen fire. Handle with care, or everything might go up in flames. Now let's pivot from the humorous to the practical. Expecting your partner to know what's wrong without communication isn't just unfair, it's like setting them up to fail. This isn't Hogwarts, and we weren't all born with the gift of legitimacy. Instead of playing guessing games, encourage an environment where open and honest communication is the norm. Say something like, "I might not have a crystal ball, but I'm here, ready to listen. What's on your mind?" It's about making it clear that your relationship is a no mind reading zone, but a full-on, open communication zone. Every word she says carries hidden meanings. You might find it frustrating that when she says, "I don't need it," you still have to do it. Or when she says, "It's fine," there is definitely something wrong. In reality, she doesn't expect you to understand her perfectly. She just wants you to sense what she needs and persistently care for her until the end. Think about it this way. Effective communication in a relationship is like having a good Wi-Fi connection. Without it, you're just buffering, getting nowhere fast, missing all the important bits. So, why not upgrade your relationship's communication plan? It's less about being a mind reader and more about being an attentive listener. Remember, while you can't read her mind, you can definitely read the situation. Stay tuned to her needs, ask the right questions, and keep the lines of dialogue open. So, ditch the crystal ball and pick up the communication toolkit. It's your best bet for understanding what's really going on in her head. And who knows, with enough practice, you might just become the next best thing to a mind reader, no superpowers needed. Number 6. She wants a winner. Let's tackle a truth that's as old as time yet often glossed over. Everyone loves a winner. It's not just a preference, it's wired into our very psyche, and yes, it significantly influences romantic relationships. Now, while the concept of a winner might evoke images of a trophy-laden champion, in the realm of relationships, it's about more than just accolades and external success. Good morals and character are essential, non-negotiable even. They're like the foundation of a house, vital for long-term stability. But on their own, they might not spark attraction or command respect in the competitive arena of life and love. It's a harsh reality, but true. Just being a good person isn't always enough to capture interest or ignite passion. Here's where it gets interesting. Women, and let's be honest, most people, are naturally drawn to those who aspire, achieve, and conquer. Why? Because success and ambition often translate to security and excitement, two key ingredients in the chemistry of attraction. It's not about winning for the sake of winning. It's about what winning signifies: determination, resilience, and the capacity to thrive in life's arena. This doesn't mean that every man needs to be a CEO or a world champion. Being a winner is about mindset and effort. It's about getting back up when life knocks you down. It's about striving to improve, whether in your career, your personal life, or your passions. It's about not settling for mediocrity when excellence is within reach. So, if you're feeling like the perpetual nice guy finishing last, ask yourself this: are you really pushing your limits? Are you pursuing excellence in your own life? Or are you coasting, hoping that being good is good enough? Women respect and desire men who chase not just dreams but tangible goals and achievements. They want someone who inspires them, someone who brings excitement and stability into their lives through his actions. Your character is your rock, but your drive is your rocket. You need both to launch into the stratosphere of personal and romantic success. Start by setting a goal, something you've pushed to the back burner, and tackle it with everything you've got. Let your actions speak as loudly as your values. Show the world and all the potential partners in it that you're not just a man of good character, but a man of dynamic action, a true winner. The journey from being a good man to a winning man isn't about changing who you are, but revealing the best version of yourself. It's about showing that you can take life's punches and swing back, not with arrogance, but with determination and grace. Remember, in the grand tournament of life, don't just compete. Compete to win. Number 7. She needs security. In a world where women are more financially independent than ever, you'd think the old adages about security would buckle under the weight of modern equality. Yet, the need for security in a relationship remains as steadfast as a lighthouse in stormy seas. It's not just about the money, it's about the mooring, a sense of safety that anchors a relationship. Even if a woman out-earns her partner, she still yearns for a tapestry of security woven from emotional, physical, and yes, financial threads. Think of it as a three-legged stool. Remove one leg, and the stability wavers. This isn't a tale of damsels in distress. It's about partners in defense against life's unpredictability. Imagine this. She's had a day that could make Monday weep. Who does she need by her side? A rock. Not literally, of course, but someone whose emotional fortitude can withstand the torrent of her stresses without eroding under pressure. Be that rock. When her world is spinning, be the gravity that pulls her back to earth with a calm presence and a steady hand. Now, let's talk Stoicism. No, not the stiff upper lip kind, but the Marcus Aurelius, remain unshaken amidst the crash of worlds kind. Even in the 21st century, amidst all the talks of equality and partnership, the visceral need for a reliable anchor in a partner persists. It's less about gender roles and more about human roles. Each partner craves a sense of security from the other, though perhaps in different flavors. So, gents, if your girl is the breadwinner, don't think your part on the security front is redundant. Your role isn't downsized, it's diversified. Emotional security? Check. Physical reassurance? Check. Financial wisdom? Double check. It's not about holding the keys to the safe. It's about unlocking a deeper level of trust and reliability in the relationship. Being her steadfast pillar, her unwavering guardian against the gales of life. That's the real equity you bring to the table. So, step up, be the rock, and watch your relationship's security compound, interest guaranteed. Number 8. Most women lack empathy. Is it just me? Or have you noticed how empathy sometimes seems like a one-way street in relationships? There's a pervasive myth that men are the stoic ones, impervious to emotional pain, which can lead to a troubling empathy gap between genders. This isn't just an anecdotal observation, it's a complex issue rooted in cultural norms and socialization. Let's dive a bit deeper. Society often drums into men the mantra of man up, promoting the idea that showing emotions is a sign of weakness. This expectation doesn't just affect men, it impacts how women perceive men's emotions too. When a man does express vulnerability, he might not only struggle with his own internalized stigma, but also face a lack of empathy from women who have unconsciously absorbed the same societal messages. They might see emotional expressions in men as unattractive or a sign of weakness. Now, this isn't to say that most women inherently lack empathy. Rather, it's to highlight how societal conditioning can warp our understanding and expression of empathy. It's a learned blindness that can be unlearned. Women, just like men, are fully capable of deep empathy, but the social scripts they've been handed may need some revising. Here's where the conversation gets real. Breaking down these barriers starts with acknowledging that men are indeed still only human, with a full spectrum of emotions. It involves women and men working together to foster a culture where emotional openness is not just accepted but encouraged. So, how do we bridge this empathy gap? It starts with dialogue, open and honest conversations about emotional needs and expectations. It requires us to challenge the old narratives about masculinity and vulnerability. Men sharing their emotional experiences without the fear of judgment can be powerful. For women, it's about actively listening and validating these expressions of vulnerability, not as signs of weakness, but as acts of courage and authenticity. To all the men out there, your emotions are valid and need no justification. And to the women, your capacity for empathy can be a transformative force in a man's life. Let's redefine strength, not as the absence of vulnerability, but as the courage to be real in the face of societal expectations. Together, we can turn empathy into a true superpower, not just in romantic relationships, but in all human connections. After all, isn't the real strength of a relationship measured by how well we can share and understand each other's deepest fears and highest hopes? Let's make empathy the norm, not the exception. Number 9. She hates being disrespected. Respect is a cornerstone of any healthy relationship, and no one appreciates being on the receiving end of disrespect. Women are no exception. However, the dynamics of disrespect can often become complicated and, if not managed correctly, can lead to recurring patterns of negative behavior in a relationship. Understanding these dynamics is crucial not only for maintaining dignity, but also for fostering a respectful and loving relationship. The idea that women will disrespect you if you let them stems from a broader discussion about boundaries in relationships. Disrespect, whether in the form of verbal insults or more severe behaviors like physical altercations, often escalates from smaller unchecked incidents. If minor acts of disrespect are not addressed, it sets a precedent that such behavior is acceptable, leading potentially to more frequent and severe occurrences. If he shrugs it off without addressing the issue, his partner might interpret his silence as acceptance or indifference. Over time, this can escalate into more intense forms of disrespect, and in extreme cases, even physical aggression. It's important to note that physical violence is never acceptable, regardless of the preceding interactions. So, why do we let disrespect slide? Often, it's the desire to avoid conflict or the hope that it's just a one-time thing. But here's the kicker. When minor acts of disrespect are ignored, they can morph into major ones. It's like setting a precedent that says it's okay to treat me this way. Handling disrespect effectively involves addressing the issue directly and calmly. If disrespected, one might say, "I feel disrespected when you raise your voice at me, and I need us to communicate without yelling." This approach not only addresses the behavior, but also models the respect and communication style you expect in return. It's crucial, however, that such discussions occur at a time when both partners are calm and more receptive to a constructive conversation. Just as you wouldn't let others disrespect you without consequence, the same should apply in your romantic relationships. Remember, a slap should never be a wake-up call. The real alarm is sounded through respectful communication and the courage to uphold one's dignity in all interactions. So next time you sense a hint of disrespect, don't let it slide. Address it calmly, clearly, and constructively. Your future self and your relationship will thank you for it. Number 10. If she likes you. Here's a straightforward, perhaps uncomfortable truth that many find hard to swallow. If she likes you, she will make it clear. She will want to see you, talk to you, and respond to your messages. It's really that simple. This clarity often stings because it forces us to confront the reality that sometimes the interest we hope for just isn't there. Let's dive into this with an example that might hit close to home. Imagine you've met someone you really like. You send texts, make calls, and suggest plans. But the responses are sporadic, the conversations one-sided, and the plans always postponed. You might start wondering, is she just busy, or is she not that into me? Here's where the harsh truth comes in. More often than not, if someone is genuinely interested, they'll find a way to connect, no matter how busy they are. This isn't about playing detective or reading between the lines of every text and gesture. It's about recognizing the straightforward signals of interest, or the lack thereof. If you find yourself constantly guessing and second-guessing her feelings based on minimal or mixed responses, it might be time to accept that the interest you're looking for just isn't there. Now, I understand this can be particularly challenging for those who struggle with social cues, including some men on the autism spectrum. If that's you, remember, you're not alone, and navigating these signals is a skill that can be learned with practice and guidance. For anyone finding these social nuances tricky, consider diving into resources that can offer more explicit guidance on reading and interpreting signals of interest. But let's broaden the lens a bit. This advice isn't just for romantic relationships. It's a life skill. Whether it's friends, colleagues, or potential romantic partners, understanding and accepting people's level of interest and engagement can save you not just time but also emotional energy. So if you're ever in doubt, keep this mantra handy. Actions speak louder than words. If she's into you, her actions will shout it from the rooftops. No reply to your texts. Silence might just be the answer you're looking for. Ghosted after a great date? Maybe it wasn't as great on the other side of the table. Alright folks, that wraps up our exploration of the 10 bitter facts about women that men often learn too late. Understanding these truths isn't just about navigating relationships more effectively. It's about fostering respect and deeper connections by seeing beyond societal stereotypes and expectations. Remember, knowing these facts isn't about fostering negativity, but about preparing yourself to engage more meaningfully with the women in your life. If this video struck a chord with you, or if you've experienced any of these lessons firsthand, hit that like button and share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to share this video with friends who might benefit from these insights. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel for more content that dives deep into understanding complex relationship dynamics. Thanks for watching, and remember, true wisdom comes from continually learning and adapting. See you in the next video.